All right, so it looks like this is up and going. Yep, I see it now on YouTube. You all can see it too because I'm lazy and didn't want to change that. So, what this can't tell by the thumbnail and the title, this is me going to be creating a version of Pong using just p5js and conditional statements. I'm going to be live coding this video, and this is resource for the students in my Game Design in JavaScript course that I'm teaching this summer. So we're going to be having a lesson where I'm going to be teaching them all about conditionals. If they're watching this after the fact, but as we're learning about the different kinds, we're going to be building that into the game Pong. I don't know if we'll be able to completely finish that by the time class is done, so I'm making this walk so that way everyone can finish it and get it turned in by the next class. Um, so with that being said, you can Google Pong if you've never heard of it. Classic video game, kind of like tennis or regular tennis or ping pong. That's where the name came from. But we'll be doing that. Normally, when I do this, I have my students implement a timer, but I'm not going to be worrying about because that's just more work, and we haven't done functions yet. Also, I've been running into a lot of bugs with timers recently. So if you all watching this have a great way to do a timer, put that down in the comments below. Figure it out. Same thing if you make your own. I'd love to see what people make, and if you learn something, consider doing the like, subscribe, and all of that stuff. All right. With that being said, I'm just gonna jump right. So in Pong, there's a few things we need to uh, keep track of. So I'm going to start this by making some variables. I'm going to call this the ball X, um, ball Y, L, paddle, I can't type, L paddle, Y, Y, R, paddle Y, L score, R score. These for now. Um, So this is a very basic version, and I'm only using conditionals. That's kind of the challenge with this assignment. This can be done much easier and probably much quicker, objects and things like that. But for this one, it's only conditionals and variables. So that's how we'll be setting that up. To start with, I'm going to go make my background to be black. Classic Pong has a black background. I'm going to make it 800 by 800 just so we have a little more room to work with. And I'm just gonna jump right into it. Work this out. So let's start with ball X is gonna be width divided by 2. Let's start that right in the middle. Ball Y is gonna be a random number between 10 and height divided by, or height minus 10. There we go. All right. Then I'm just gonna say fill. I'll make it white. There we are, and rectangle. We could make this a. Actually, I'm gonna make it in a. No, I'm gonna keep it a rectangle. Old Pong was a rectangle. I was gonna say ball X. Yeah, I'm gonna put that in the right spot and say ball X, ball Y. Uh, we'll start it at 10 by 10 for now, and we'll adjust the size a little bit later. Okay. Oh, and I forgot ball X, ball Y, ball direction, and ball speed. We're going to need those as well. Okay, so we got the ball there. Let's start off with the, let's go next to the paddles. Let's see. Ball, so this will be another rectangle. This will be the left paddle. I'm going to put this, this is going to be slightly off from the edges of the screen. So let's say 30 pixels in and L, Y, whatever that happens to be. And then I'll stick that there. And then we'll make these 10 by 50. We'll start that. I'm just going to copy this. Next will be the right paddle. This will be width minus R paddle Y 10 and 50. That should make them line up, because we have to compensate on the right side for the width of the paddles, and just because it's everything's drawn from the left side in P5. So just gotta compensate for the width of 10 of the paddle, so we're going width minus 40. As for what will be, let's start with L paddle Y. It's gonna equal let's see, the starting one will be let's just stick these divided by 2 R paddle Y. Gonna be sign height divided by 2. All right, so we've got that there. Okay, let's also just stick some stuff in there. So ball speed, let's just give that a 3. And then let's say ball direction is going to equal 1. All right, boom. Enough to start with for now. I guess L going to equal 0. R score is going to equal 0. Okay, just enough to get us started. In a second, we'll run this and get some. In fact, actually, if we do this, we should just see. Boom! There we go. Some paddles. Actually, I'm going to say height minus 2 minus 25 minus. Just so these are in the middle. And again, every time this refreshes, the ball will be in a different spot. And actually, let's say equals random. I'm just going to double check. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Help. Reference. I just want to make sure. 0, 1. If no arguments is given, 0, but not if one argument is 0, but not including the second. Let's go let I think this will work. So this way the ball will move in a random direction every time it starts. That's what I wanted to go for. Only go between -1 and 1. And we'll talk about why in a little bit. Okay. Let's move that down a little. So let's say, let's move the right, the mouse. So R paddle Y, mouse Y. Yeah. Then, let's just say if key is pressed if key code is equal to, and I always forget this. So let's actually comment that out for just a second. $38 is up, 40 is down. 38. Boom, boom. That. Else if key code is equal to 40. We'll do that. So if it's say up, down, then L paddle Y three L paddle Y plus equals 3. All right, so that gets that paddle moving. I'm gonna change this to be a little. Tidy that up. I want this to be about on par. 10. I'm not gonna put too much of that. There we go. That's enough. Okay. So this section is moving the paddles. Boo doo 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 doo. All right. So player the left controls it with the arrow keys. Player the right does the mouse. Just to make life easy. All right. So that's what this does. So did conditional statement. So nothing happens unless a key is pressed. If the key code is 38, that's the up arrow, then we're going to decrease the value inside of paddle Y by 10. And since we're using that to control the vertical position of this rectangle, the rectangle moves up. If we if we hit the down arrow key by 10, which moves the rectangle down inversely, and then this one just our paddle just follows whatever the mouse is at. So there's that. Okay, next we want to keep the end of the screen because that's problematic. So let's say if go in. So we want to keep this from going past the edge. So let's start with the left paddle. If L paddle Y is greater than or equal to height minus 50, then we'll say L paddle Y gets assigned height minus 50. I'll say if it's greater than. Just leave it at that. So now this should stop it. That should have stopped it. That's not what I wanted. Did I type that wrong? If L, oh, I just mistyped that. Okay. Now it stops. And I'll say else if L paddle Y is less than 0, L paddle Y get assigned 0. So now this should always stay on the screen. Boom. All right. So now I'm just going to copy this and change L to R. Take care of it. Yeah. Boom. There we go. Now these paddles cannot go off the screen either way. Something that is very useful and I think is kind of overwritten. So conditional, we're just saying if the variable that's controlling these, the ones we used up here, go outside of a certain range, we're just going to set them back to the limit of that range. That way it's physically impossible farther. Technically, it might be moving by like a pixel, but we can't see that minute difference. So it's just setting that right there. We got that going for the left and the right side. Okay, let's see. Next, let's get the score displayed on the screen, just because that's not really related to other stuff at the moment. So let's say text. So let's say we need L score. And we're going to put that at 50, comma 50. All right. Let's do some things. Let's say width divided or width times 0, 5. Oops, 0.25. Oh, wrong side. Boom. We'll do that there. I'm gonna say text size. I'm gonna make it. That should be fine. So then we get comment score display. All right. Now I'm just gonna copy this, paste that, right score, and just change this to 0.75. Boom. Left score, right score. There you go. I mean, I can even just for redundancy's sake. So it's displaying whatever values of these variables, which start off as 0, and then when we get back to it, these will update. But first, we need to make the ball move. So let's see if I'm going to move this down a bit. So let's say ball direction gets assigned. Let's see, ball direction. So it's going to be the ball speed. I was trying to think of ball move gets assigned times ball speed. That up here. Move gets ball times ball speed. Ball direction. The moment is either 1 or -1 times ball speed. Then I gave it 3, so it should be moving slightly over. Oh, and I got to use this for the ball. Duh. In this case, it should be ball. What am I missing? It's been a hot second since I've done this, to be completely honest. So let's see, ball X. Oh, okay. So let's leave this as ball move ball X plus equal well, I'll type this out long ways. It's assigned the ball x plus ball move. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's just, for some debugging, log the ball location. Then we'll say ball x, ball y. Nah, fine. I'll do it. I'll do it this way. Is side bracket ball x, comma, $sign bracket ball y. Okay. That's fine. I can make it a we wanted to be specific. You can floor that just so it's a whole number, but it's not really going to make a difference as to how stuff works. Floor. It's going to basically be the same. Okay. So there. So let's add some angles in. So let directions equal that. Let ball angles equal. And this will go in at -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 3. Yeah. 3, 4, and 5. Actually, I'm going to get rid of the 0. But basically, I'm going to have the ball bounce off of the paddles and just angle change randomly. So, boom, boom. Let's do that. So this is the horizontal movement. Let's get the vertical movement. So we need ball angle, ball ang. Tidy that up. Ang gets assigned. Would it be this the same one? Plus actually it needs to be need to pick one and ball ang. Current angle. We'll say current angle is going to be a random value from ball angles. All right, it's going to be from, and we're going to add, I think this will do that. To movement, instead of ball, we want ball X, or not ball X, ball Y, and ball Y. All right, cool. It moved off at an angle. So we've got a ball moving. We've got paddles that can move and not leave the screen. Now we need to get the the ball bouncing off of the paddles. So let's do that. I'll do that after here. So let's see. So for this, we're going to need some nested conditional statements. If. All right, so let's say if we're going to be measuring ball x. We'll start on the left side. So if ball x is ever less than, let's see, we started at 30. So say less than, and it's 10 wide. So less than 30 for the paddle plus 10 for the width. So if it's ever less than 40, we're then going to check and say if ball y is within the confines of the paddle. So that'll be if it's greater than L paddle y and ball y less than L paddle y plus 50, then that, then we'll say ball direction equals 1. Let me just copy that and we'll change it. So now if it's ever greater than, instead of 40, we want it to be, we'll say height, or not height, width minus 40. It's the same value, but if it ever changes, then we want it to be the right path. And we'll make this -1. So this should, boom. All right, it bounced. Oh wait, 40. Should this be 10 more? Yeah, there we go. All right. So we've done that. I also want, is it current angle? Angle, it's going to be random ball angles. And this will be the same for both of them. I didn't need that one. Yeah, that should do that. Okay. So we've got it the bouncing off. Now we need to make it so that way the ball resets. Okay, and this, we're almost there. So let's see. This is the ball bounces off paddle. Ball bounces off right. Okay. So now we're moving on to the next bit. This hasn't been going on for as long as I thought. Okay. Again, in the class version, I'm going through all the different kinds of conditionals as we're doing this, and it's going to take a little longer. But for the next bit, we now need to figure out what happens if the ball passed the various boundaries. So if ball x is ever less than the ball is 10. So I'm going to actually change this. I'm going to say negative 50. I'll make it 20. I'll make it 20. Not that long. It helps when I put the right things in there. Then let's see. Say ball x gets assigned width divided by 2. Ball direction. I'm going to make that random. And that's going to be from directions. I'm just going to copy this because honor. Okay, so boom, boom, boom. If right player scores. All right. Next, we want R score. Eventually, this should. Okay, what did I goof? Oh, this is just saying L score twice. There we go. Okay, we're starting to get there. I'm gonna copy this to save some time. If the left player scores, so if ball is ever great, height, keep doing height, width plus 20. Everything else should be the same, and the left score will go. So again, it's going to, if it goes past that, past the edge, it's going to teleport the ball to the middle. It's going to move in a random direction. And then it's going to other side's score. So you can see that happening right now because we're just increasing this value. And then down here, we're just displaying that value. It's just a number. So we're also putting console and it's extra. Okay, so that's just about it, except you've noticed the ball has gone off the top and bottom of the screen, which is problematic. So let's conditional if ball off vertically. So there's a few ways we can go about doing this. First is you can make it bounce off the top and bottom. The next is you could just make it somewhere. I'm gonna go for the teleport option, partly because it's easier, and partly just because time. I don't want this to be a forever thing. So if I want to make it so the ball bounces off the top and bottom, more like actual Pong, you can. That'd be a few bonus points right there. But for this one, I'm just gonna make it just teleport back to somewhere. If ball y is ever less than 0, then we'll say let's say or ball x y is ever greater than height. Should I do it that way? Height minus 10. Then we will say ball x. I'll say ball y equals height. I'll make it a random number just for fun. Random height times 0. I can't type. 25 and height times 0.75. I'm missing something somewhere. There we are. So at this point, the ball, it's gonna kind of jump around a bit. Um, but if it ever goes off, now it just can't go off the top or the bottom. Um, I think it makes it a little more. Um, we've got that right there. That's basically it. Again, I'm sure that there are many, many, many more ways you could go about doing this. You could add in extra stuff like ways to display instructions, ways to um, maybe change the speed of the ball, um, other the ways to just make it more elegant and nicer. But again, this is just a quick and dirty replica of Pong that can be played by two people. Um, and it's only using and conditional, technically a few arrays, but conditionals um, in the draw function. If this were me doing this professionally, I would utilize some external function that, and again, just add a little more polish to it. But this is essentially what we're looking for. Again, to kind of reiterate what the different kinds of conditional statements are. We have the basic conditional statement right here of if a condition is true. So if the value stored inside of ball X is less than -20, then execute this block of code. So this only happens when when that condition is true. I have a few with multiple conditions in there. So if the ball y is less than 0 or the ball y is greater than this, we're going to execute code. So it's the same result with multiple possible triggers with the or. Where'd my one with and go? Up here, I have one with these ones with and. So if the ball y is, greater than the paddle y, but less than the paddle y plus the paddle height, then we're going to do the result block only if it's both of these are true. And actually, I kind of want to make a change reading that out loud. Let's say paddle height equals 50. If minus I don't we don't need to look up what that is. Basically, you can do this for all of them, but I'm just replacing the height here with if you wanted to change the height of your paddles, it's not going to be the weirdest thing. I could go in and do paddle width as well. Equals 10. Just so it's all variables. And again, I'm recording this actually before the lesson, so I may actually uh, do it. We'll see. I'll leave those the same. But yeah, just there's ways you could do it like that. Just to make it a little more clear of where things numbers. But you don't have to. That's just me going off on a tangent because I get easily distracted. All right, so after that, we have the the nested statement. If if the ball X position is less than 40, we're going to run the block of code just like normal. However, that block of code is going to be its own if statement with its own conditions and results. So that way we get one test. The reward for passing that test is another test, just like high school. So that's what we have going right there. I actually don't have any if else in here, but just to reiterate that, if so, we have if. I'll use this one. If the ball X is greater than, with run the code. We could say else, don't run the code. Meaning if the test is true, we do something. Otherwise, else, or is false, when we check it, do something else. And you can specify whatever that happens to be. The next level of that would be the else if, and I do have some of those right here. So we have if the left paddle Y is bigger than height minus the paddle height, we're going to set the value. Else if it's 0, we'll set it to 0. Meaning that if the first test is true, I dropped a flash drive I'm messing around with off camera. If the first test is true, we run that we run that result block. False, then we run another test. It's kind of the opposite of the nested, where if the test was true, we would run a second test. This time, it's if the test is false, we run another one. So if you fail your math test, take a remedial math test after you've studied, kind of a thing, and so on. So you can actually chain together as many if, else, if statements as you might need. And it's just if this one's wrong, run a test. If another test and run another, you can chain them together, so on and so forth, and build as complex of this kind of basic binary computer logic as you might need. Just one thing to keep in mind as we're kind of wrapping it up. No matter what, these tests in the parentheses are always again, a Boolean code, a binary code. It's always true or false. It can't be anything else besides, or the computer won't know what to do with it. You'll get an error because computers are very powerful, but they're very stupid, and they can only take things very literally. In this case, the test either is true, not true. So you have to give it something that, if the number inside of here is bigger than this number, and that's pretty much what all of these are. If do this, it's either pressed or it's not. It nested inside that. If the key code is 38, well, it's either 38 or it's something else. So that's the test right there. And yeah, that's conditionals in a big nutshell, and we made Pong out of it, and this has just been going for 60 something rounds. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up there. It's just a very condensed version, kind of doing this live, but also with no planning, so you got to see me figure stuff out because I just kind of did it off the cuff. All right, so that's it for me, and I will catch you all next time. Again, just remember, if you learn something, maybe give it a like or a subscribe and all the other YouTubey things, and feel free to share what you make. And I think at the beginning I asked if you had a good idea to how to implement a timer. I'd love to check that out. I've had trouble with this assignment in the past. But anyways, I'm rambling now, and I'm gonna just keep repeating myself if I keep talking, so I'm just gonna repeat myself and say bye. See you next time.